Alright, hello guys, welcome to the channel. This is Ixion, and today we have over here a Buster Duel replay of Eldlich versus Sky Striker. So this is actually my own personal replay of a recent match that I had against a Sky Striker player, and I'm gonna show you how you can outgrind Sky Strikers even if your hand isn't exactly the greatest. Over here you can see that my hand, I started with Cypher Driver, a brick, Lava Golem, a complete brick in the matchup. The Sky Strikers never end on more than one monster. Skill Drain, which is pretty good. Solemn Strike is really very good, and Hakero, which is very good if you have Golden Lord. But sadly, I don't have Golden Lord access. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, I won the coin flip, and I started first, and all I did was set 3 toss. There's really nothing I can do with my turn. Thankfully, it looked like the Sky Striker player. Well, he starts with Jamming Waves, and he popped the Skill Drain, which is quite unfortunate. Thankfully, he didn't pop the Solemn Strike. I was hoping he would have picked the Hakero so I could get access to Golden Lord, but no. Chances are, I believe he popped my back row before playing the multi-roll, just in case it was a Cosmic Cyclone, and I could chain into it. But because of that, he didn't get the +1 of having multi-roll, bringing the Jamming Waves back. So on my turn, I pulled Curse Outland, which is pretty good to pull. I wasn't actually going to search Golden Lord because there was no point. If I get Golden Lord, it's just going to be another brick into my hand. So I was actually going to search Conquistador just to have another body, another back row that I could try send to the graveyard, or Xyz with Hakero eventually. But that got ashed, so it didn't matter. So it looked like a brick, but his hand is actually full of hand traps, which you'll find out. So I flipped Hakero just to get the body out, but he had Maxi. I figured, you know what, it's fine. I'm not gonna strike that. I'll let him get a 1-card exchange. If a Solemn Strike, it's just gonna be a neg 1 on myself with a 1,500 life points cost, just for a 1-for-1. It's not worth it at all. So I went for Hakero, punched for 1,800, and tossed. On his turn, he popped my Hakero. Not exactly the greatest play in my opinion, but it is what it is. Because of him sending Hakero to the graveyard, I could get access to Skeleton Queen. On hindsight though, chances are, he probably did it on purpose because he actually had a second Maxine hand, as you can see over here. So he likely wanted me to special summon, just so that he could trigger the Maxine. And of course, once again, I'm not going to Solemn Strike this one, because it's going to be a 1-for-1, but it cost me 1,500 life, so it's a very huge neg on my part if I strike that one. So I went ahead for Lord and punched. And with Curse Elven, I grabbed Conquistador. So set Skill Drain Conquistador, and then he used Widow Anchor just to trigger the multi-roll and get back his Jamming Waves. Because you see that I have a lot of back rolls, so you just want to get rid of them. So opens up the Jamming Waves, the Strike, which is unfortunate, but I believe the Strike served its purpose. So let me pause here real quick and just explain why I actually think that was a good thing. Mainly because I saved the Strike to stop. I saved the Strike whenever he used the Maxi to stop instead of stopping him to draw 1. So the Strike was actually one more unknown back row. So because of that, his Jamming Waves actually had to pop the Strike. And otherwise, he would have popped either of these 3, which isn't that great, especially if I use the Strike on the Maxi. So with that, when he set his face down and he tried to use multi-roll on the face down, I thought this might actually be what was that? Metaphor Fusion, where you actually wanted the graveyard. So I don't actually want that to happen, and I also don't want him to make it so that his spells are uninterruptible. So I tried to Conquistador it without realizing this was such a bad move. So what happened there was that I didn't realize that it was actually another multi-roll. He was trying to send a brick in. But because of that, he could search the Area 0, and he managed to plus a lot from this, because now the multi-roll can send to Area 0 and get himself his Ray. Yep, and from there, he goes into Shiz. So this is one thing that I find that he missed his misplay that counteracts my misplay. Is that he went ahead to multi-roll his Area Zero to get the Ray into the field, but because the Ray's on the field, he couldn't use his Afterburners to pop my card, because all Sky Striker spells requires you to control the monsters on the main monster zone. So because he used the Area Zero first to get the Ray onto the field, he actually needs to go to Shizuku to free up the monster zone so that he can activate his Afterburners to pop my Golden Lord. And the reason why he did that is because he wanted to pop his other battle, which is Skill Drain. So my Skill Drain is waiting for the Kagari. But because he went to Shizuku first, I didn't want to Skill Drain. There's no point skill draining the Shizuku. So because he just freed up the monster zone, and so that he could pop the Golden Lord. And because he already has 3 spells in the graveyard at the time, well, more than 3, he could pop the back row as well, which is Skill Drain, which was really very bad for me because now his Kagari is live, and I have nothing to stop it. Not with the Lava Golem and Cycling Driver in my hand. Yeah. So he brings back the engage searches Shark Cannon to get rid of my Lord. But before that, Pot of Desires for more pluses. At this point, I thought, you know what? I think the game is over. I think I've lost. He definitely outgrinded me here, but it wasn't so bad just yet. I wasn't about to give up because I still have live cards in the graveyard. I can still bring them back into the game. So yeah, with that he actually sends. With the Hayate, he actually sends the what do you call this card again? Hornet Drones. Yes, he sends the Hornet Drones, and then he normal summons his well, special summons his Rose. To go into Phoenix, sends his Nibiru to pop the Cursed Outland, just to make sure that I don't get more pluses, but because of that, I could actually get more pluses. So, I actually only run 2 Hakiros in my deck, and Hakiros are really very good in the matchup, but this time when I sent the Cursed Outland into the, when it's Cursed Outland in the graveyard, the Golden Lance trap that I sent was Hakero because I actually activated Conquistador this turn. And because I did that, I can't actually use Conquistador's graveyard effect, so I had to send him Hakero. Because I know that he's already way ahead of me, his multi-roll is gonna get back 5 cards, so it's a +5 for him. So I needed as much advantage as I can to catch up, and I had to send my last Hakero, just so that I can send banish both of them in Estes. To get another Conquistador, and also to get access to Golden Lord. And this is where his multi-roll starts bringing in all these cards. Shark Cannon is so good against the Eldlich matchup. And then he gets back his engage. Yep, he gets back the Hornet Drone that he sent, just to get Ray access because he went to Phoenix. And then Area Zero because he can. And then Widow Anchor. So on my draw phase, I got a Solemn Strike, which is pretty damn good. So I activated Golden Lord over here, just to see what he would do, but nothing happened, so I'm just gonna go Conquistador and pop his multi-roll. I want to stop his multi-roll from generating more advantage. Because if this match goes on and multi-roll is still up there, I'm definitely gonna lose, so I had to get rid of it. And immediately what I did after that was I actually went into Vampire Sucker. So the reason why this card is in my deck is because there are times when you actually want to send these 2 into the graveyard, or you want some options, and you're locked into zombies. In this case, because I activated Scarlet Sanguine, I'm actually locked into zombies. So I went to Vampire Sucker for 2 reasons. For one is that I actually want to send the Conquistadors in the graveyard in case he doesn't send it, because he can go into Hayate and punch over them. And second reason is that Vampire Sucker has an effect where I can actually special summon a zombie from his graveyard onto his field. And if I can successfully do that, I unlock his entire back row. So the zombie that he has in his graveyard is the Ash Blossom that he used at the very start of the game. One slight misplay that I did was that I summoned Vampire Sucker up here, out of Havoc, when I could have summoned my Vampire Sucker down here, where the Phoenix is pointing. Main reason for this is that if somehow he destroys my Sucker, which I know he couldn't because I know all his back row. If somehow he destroys my Vampire Sucker, Rose can trigger from the graveyard and special summon itself, so that's another +1. So one thing to keep in mind against Sky Striker players is that if you can summon outside of the extra monster zone, try to do that. Yeah, so that it doesn't matter in this game anyway, because I was gonna trigger Vampire Sucker to summon Ash, and this forced the Widow Anchor. Because otherwise he would have Widow Anchored the Lord to stop me from destroying the Phoenix. Yep, so that was fine. I just went to battle phase, punched over the Phoenix because I do not want him to keep the body. Set the strike and pause. So this is the turn that I need to survive, and this strike is my only lifeline here. Lord does nothing, Vampire Striker does absolutely nothing, and he has Short Cannon to get rid of the Lord whenever it hits the graveyard, and Arrow 0, and Engage, and also Hornet Drones to get Sky Striker body to the board, on the board. So he engages here, and searches Widow Anchor, and draws one more. Superior Pot of Greed. So the Area 0 targets the Hornet Drones, and then chain Hornet Drones just to get a +1. Thankfully for me, he did not get the +1 because his Area 0 whip on no Sky Striker cards. Yeah, so he special summons Rose over here. This is actually key. This Rose kept him alive. You will see what I mean. So over here, he went into Hayate. And I was actually debating whether I should actually activate my strike here. But after some deliberation, I thought, you know what, this Hayate isn't going to kill me. So I actually left it be. And on hindsight, this is actually a really very good decision. So he Raigekis over here, gets rid of my front row, and then he normal summons another Ash. And here he thought he was completely safe, and he's going for the access code OTK. So Hulky Firebreakers gets Defect Beta, which is a Spellcaster, and then they go into Celine. There's a lot of spells in the graveyard, and mine and his, so he gets counters from Celine. And then Celine special summons the Vader back. Yeah, so at any point on this combo I could have struck and stopped it, but I wanted to wait till the access code, just so that I get his access code outside of the extra deck. He no longer has access to it. So I strike over here to get rid of the access code. And because of that Rose, he's still alive. He's still in the game. Otherwise he would have had an empty board. So he goes to the Shiz and he punches for 15. So 2 unknowns, yeah. But thankfully I'm still in the game because Golden Lord Eldlich traps. Oh right, I forgot that was a Hornet that was a Shark Cannon. So he changed that on his end phase to get rid of my Golden Lord because if he waited till it was my turn, it'll be too late because the Conquistador and the Scarlet Sanguine, the Conquistador will actually get set aside Scarlet Sanguine. If he waited till it was my turn, the Scarlet Sanguine would have been live. So if he tries to Shark Cannon the Lord, I could save my Lord by chaining my Scarlet Sanguine into it. So he had to do it now. So he gets rid of the Lord. And then, yeah, so I guess Scarlet Sanguine. So I only have one more Lord left in deck. And then his Shiz, Surges, and Engage. So this is where I actually misplayed as well. So I drew another brick. It is a brick in this case, mainly because there's no monster effect that's going to trigger. There's no way I can bait a monster effect without summoning on something on the field. I have no way to destroy the Shiz and then trigger try to bait the Ray out. So somehow I brain farted when I saw this hand, and it made me think that he might have a Maxi in hand. When I completely forgot that he already searched Engage. In the back of my mind, I was like, okay, he searched Engage. I need to stop him from getting too many pluses. But at the same time, I was like, if he has Maxi, I need to play around it. So that was a really very dumb mistake because he only has one card in hand. He can't have both cards in hand. So what I did was I actually summoned Lord first when I could have actually summoned Conquistador and then chain Sanguine, but I summoned Lord. And then I tried to Conquistador. Because after summoning Lord, I realized, oh, he has no Maxi. So I tried to Conquistador. But of course he doesn't have a Maxi, because that we know that's Engage. So he changed Widow Anchor and he steals the Lord, so this doesn't get a pop. Yeah, so I summoned over the Conquistador, and then I went to battle phase, and then I stopped to think, oh wait, my plan has already failed, because the original plan was that I should actually chain Conquistador chain 1, Sanguine chain 2, so he couldn't Widow Anchor the Lord. The Lord will come in, and then the Conquistador will pop the Shiz. And then he would have to chain Ash to bring Ray to bring Ray back out. And then what I would do then is I will normal summon over the Conquistador with 5-frame Driver, and then Lord and Driver tries to attack into the Ray, obviously. So he has to Widow Anchor, so he could still take the Lord. But at the very least, he would have been forced to summon a Kaina to stop the 5-frame Driver from killing the Kaina. But because I misplayed this turn, I actually made it so that Driver is the only way to actually get rid of the Shiz. And if I kill his Shiz now, he's gonna get Ray back. And then Ray is gonna go into another Shiz, because one thing I know for sure is that he only ran through 2 Shiz. One in the graveyard and one is on the field, so it means he has 1 more Shizuku. And knowing that he has an engage in hand, I do not want him to get another Shizuku search on top of the engage. So I also know that he's probably running out of gas. He only has 9 cards left in deck, but there's no way for me to know if there's many Sky Striker cards banished face down. So I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to lose because I was trying to be too risky. So I decided not to attack, and it's ended turn here. So back to his turn. Obviously he starts with engage. This time he searches the Ray, and then he draws 1. Normal summons the Ray, and then he goes into Zeke. Yep, so Zeke banishes the Lord until the end of my turn. So this is where his misplay comes to counter my misplay yet again. What I've noticed during the match itself was that he could have used Zeke's effect to send Area 0 to the graveyard. So that Zeke will actually go to 2,500 and then crash into my Driver, and then trigger Ray in graveyard when Zeke does, and Ray comes out, punch for 15, and then in battle phase, Ray effect, going to Hayate and punch for another 15, and that would have been game. But I think he did not see that play, and that's why he just linked into Hayate instead. And yeah, that was his misplay to my misplay. So once again, I misplayed once and he misplayed immediately after. I misplayed once and he misplayed immediately after. So it balances it out, I guess. Yep, so he punches over to bring me down to 400. And then Conquistador and Scarlet Sanguine once again. So Sanguine gets me my only Golden Land trap card remaining, which is Golden Land Forever. And Conquistador gets me White Destiny. To save my Golden Lord, in case it goes to the graveyard and tries to Shark Cannon it. So I draw Anti-Spell Fragrance, and I was like, oh wow, this basically secures me to win, or close enough. So I just attack into the Hayate. So I was comfortable attacking into Hayate this time, because I know that he's already out of engages, 1 in the graveyard and 1 that is currently banished. And I know he still has 1 more Shizuku, but I need to get rid of the Hayate, because if I let it live, I'm just gonna die next turn. And I know that was his last Hayate. So the only way for him to actually beat me is to get his Hayate back, or somehow get rid of the Cyframe Driver. And the main reason why I normal summon the Cyframe Driver to begin with is not only to summon Conquistador to the graveyard, but I know that Sky Strikers have a very hard time against a very big monster that has no effect, because they cannot Widow Anchor it. Yep, so at the end phase, I found out that was a Cosmic Cyclone, and he got rid of the Golden Land Forever, because that is actually the most threatening card on my field. And he knows of at least. He doesn't know about Anti-Spell Fragrance. Either ways, even if whichever he gets rid of, he would have been in a very bad position, because Golden Land Forever in a simplified game state is very powerful. Yeah, so at the end phase, he goes into Shiz, using his Ray. That's predicted. But then his Shiz searches in area 0, and this made me know that there wasn't any good options left in his deck. There's only 5 cards left in the deck, and it made me realize that probably a couple of good options got banished. or he just used them all up. So end of my turn, Golden Lord comes back. Draw phase, I activate Anti-Spell Fragrance to stall his turn. Yeah, so right before he ended turn, he actually set his Area 0 from hand. I think he completely forgot that his Area 0 was actually brought in from multi-roll earlier in the game. I think he was trying to actually send it to the graveyard so that the Shiz could weaken them some more. But even then, even if it does go to the graveyard, it wouldn't have mattered much because Shiz needed 3 more spells or 4 more spells to actually get them low enough to actually punch over Lord and Driver. So my turn came and I got Imperial Order. So with this, I know that I've got the game for sure. His life points quite low. He's running out of resources. This is his 3rd and last Shizuku. He has 3 Kainas. 3 Hayatis out of the way. He has 1 Zeke out, 1 Kagari out, and he only has 3 cards in his extra deck. I can predict that one of them has to be probably a Ningirsu or Unicorn. One of them is likely the Kaina. The 3rd one is unknown. Not sure what it is, but it is unlikely going to be something that's too threatening. Maybe 2 Kainas for all I know. So yeah, with that, I just went aggressive. I just punched into the Shiz. So Ray comes back in. I'm expecting the Kaina over here, and that's exactly what he did. Goes into Kaina, stops the Cyber Driver from attacking. So I actually stopped attacking. I had the option of going into using White Eldlich to get the Vampire Sucker out from the graveyard to kill the Kaina, and this gets rid of his Sky Striker monsters altogether. So his Ray has already triggered its effect, so it can't come back out. That would have gotten rid of the Kaina, but that would also mean I'm leaving a 1600 attack monster on the field. I did not want to risk that, knowing that I have Anti-Spell Fragrance and I have Imperial Order. I know for sure that I have game over here, but I didn't want there to be a chance where say, for example, this is like a Twin Twisters, for example, and then he pops Imperial Order and the Anti-Spell Fragrance, gets rid of them, and then he has like a Monster Reborn for some reason, and then he Monster Reborns brings back either the Shiz or the Kagari, and then he'll attack over the Vampire Sucker and kill me. So that's a very unlikely scenario, but it is a scenario that can possibly happen because this is Monster Duel. You never know; there might still be Hacky Monster Reborn in there. But because of that, I know for sure that as long as I keep these 2 bodies out with no weak link, which the weak link will be the Vampire Sucker, even if he has a Twin Twister over here and Monster Reborn, he will still not be able to kill me. So I just set the Imperial Order and just pass. So I just realized at this point as well that he only has 3 cards left in deck and he has 800 life points for it. So yeah, he's actually pretty low. So he goes to Area 0 and kind of heals himself. So over here after the Imperial Order, and when he lets it resolve, I knew he didn't have the Twin Twisters. And yeah, with that, he gave up and the game was over. So yeah, that is how you beat Sky Strikers, by outgrinding them, and even using Eldlich, which I feel has a disadvantage against the Sky Striker matchup because of Hornet Drones. Sorry, Shark Cannon. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you found this really very helpful. If you want to see more of this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and check me out in my Twitch channel sometimes when I stream. I do stream Monster Duel once in a while, and hopefully you learn something from my streams as well. Anyways, you can see links in the description down below. Anyways, thanks guys. See ya.